Hello, one and all present here. This is Amit Kumar Singh, and welcome to my class where I discuss the previous year questions based on this topic called coefficient of variation. So every year, when you see the Bangalore City question paper, you will definitely find the question on coefficient of variation. Generally, it will come for the 6 marks. So be prepared for the 6 mark question, or max to max it will come for 10 marks. But yeah, even then it will come for 6 marks or 10 marks. You can understand the importance of this topic that every year you will definitely will get this question. So from this topic called measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion, if you want to bring both the concept measure of central tendency and measure of dispersion on one platform, then that platform would be coefficient of variation, where we talk about the ratio between standard deviation by mean. So although the ratio of standard deviation and mean plays very significant role when you study finance, where when we talk about Sharpe ratio, Trainer ratio, there we'll see the practical relevance of this topic. But again, here in statistics, we restrict our definition and logic and mathematical formulation are related to statistical point of view. So I believe you know that standard deviation talks about the variability in the data, how variable is your data, how much you can see the dispersion in your data. While mean talk about the measure of central tendency within a data, where mean talks about what you call it can mean talks about mainly the trend in the data or the general average of the data what mean talks about, while the dispersion is being talked about by standard deviation. So here we'll, by using coefficient of variation, we'll try to bring both these parameter in one platform. And here when we talk about coefficient of variation, here what you need to understand once you calculate the coefficient of variation, so you need to understand lesser the coefficient of variation, you can say more the variation or more the variability, more the variation in data. Okay, so if you have lesser the coefficient of variation, what I mean, if your coefficient of variation is less, okay, so what you can see you more consistency in the data. Okay, and if you see more is the coefficient of variation, more is the coefficient of variation, so more is the variability in the data or variation in the data. So you can understand. So whenever you solve any problem where in the problem the examiner is expecting you to determine the consistency, and an examiner is expecting you to determine out of the two data or maybe out of n data which data is more consistent. So you'll find the coefficient of variation, and whichever data has the least coefficient of variation, that data will be the most consistent. So I believe you understood this part. Talking about standard deviation, if I give you raw data, if I'm giving you raw data, you can calculate standard deviation. You can use the simple standard deviation. You can use sum of x square by n minus x bar square. Okay, or you can calculate the standard deviation by the formula called under root of summation of x minus x bar whole square by n. So you can use this formula whenever you have a raw data and you want to calculate the standard deviation based on raw data. So this is the symbol of standard deviation. This is the symbol what we use. This is the symbol what we use for the standard deviation. And when we talk about the square of standard deviation, will represent with the term called variance. So variance is basically the square of the standard deviation. So whenever we talk about the square of standard deviation, we represent with the symbol called variance. Okay, so remember this. If I give you class interval with frequency, so calculation of standard deviation, if I ask you what is the calculation of standard deviation, so when class interval with frequency is given to you, when you have class interval with frequency, use the formula for the standard deviation. Use the formula under root summation of f minus x bar whole square divided by summation of f. Okay, you can use this formula or you can use summation of fx squared by summation of f minus summation of fx by summation of f whole square, everything under square root. For variance, you remove this square. Similarly, when I talk about mean, so mean we represent with this symbol. So when you have raw data, you calculate the mean with the formula called sum of data by number of data. And when you have class interval with frequency, and you want to calculate the value of mean, you use the formula sum of fx by sum of f. So understand this. So mean is a part of average. Mean can be arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean. Okay, so we'll not go into detail of all those, but for the time being, you just know the basic definition of all this. Based on this, we'll solve the problems, previous year problem. You can see this question which came for 6 marks, not 5 marks question. It came for 5 marks. You can see the year 2018. Question number 5. Use the coefficient of variation to determine which of the two students are consistent in performance. So, two students, their marks is given based on these subjects. Their marks is given to you. Their marks is given to you. Okay, so you have to find which student is more consistent in performance. What you do, find the sum of the data. Although you have calculator, an exam calculator allowed to you. So these are the two student marks. So what you can do, you can easily find the sum of data. So do the total sum. So you can find the sum of the data. Once you find the sum of the data, this is the sum. Okay, then what I can do, I can find the average. Once I get the sum of the data, I can find their average. So average, what is the formula of average? Average we represent with the symbol average. We represent with the symbol average. I represent with the symbol. Average is sum of data divided by the number of data. So what I can do, I can find the average. So average is what? 270 divided by how many numbers are there? 4 numbers. So I can find the average. Similarly, 250 divided by 4. So I can do that. So 270 divided by 4 and 250 divided by 4. I can find 250 divided by 4. This is 270 divided by 4. Okay. Similarly, I'll do for this. So I'll find the average. 250 divided by 4. This should be 270 divided by how many data is there? 4, right? Here this is 250 divided by 4. So 62.5. So what you can do, you can find these values. You can find this value. So this value will give you the average. Okay, once you get the average, what you can do, imagine if this is x. Imagine this is x. Imagine if this is y. So now what you can do, you can find x square. What you can do now, you can find x square, you can find y square, you can find x square, you can find y square. 55 square is how much? that is 3025. 65 square is 4225. 80 square is 6400. 70 square is 4900. 93 square is 8649. 87 square is 7569. 30 square 900. 40 square is 1600. So I'll find the square of each number. Okay, then I'll find this sum. Okay. So I'll find this sum. So I'll find the sum of x square. So sum of x square, sum of y square. I hope you're understanding. So I can say this is what? This is the average. Better way would be this is the average. Okay, so x bar is 67.5, y bar is 62.5, y bar is 62.5. Sum of x square is 18550. Sum of y square is 18718. Sum of y square is 18718. Now what I want their average. So I got A and B. So I want the standard deviation. For standard deviation, what is the formula? For standard deviation, what is the formula? For standard deviation, if you want a formula for standard deviation, you know their formula. You need x square, you know n, you need mean, you have everything. So what I can do, what is the standard deviation of x? So under root of sum of x square by n minus x bar square. Under root of sum of x square is 18550. 18550 divided by n. N is 4 minus x bar. X bar is 67.5 whole square. So you can do this. So 18550 divided by 4. 4637.5. 4637.5 minus 67.5 square. That is 4556.25. 4556.25. So we can do this. That is 81.25. That is standard deviation of x is under root of 81.25. So standard deviation of x is 9.0138. So standard deviation of x is 9.0138. This is the standard deviation of x. Like this, I'll find the standard deviation of y. That is under root of y square by n minus y bar square. Under root of y square. Under root of y square. Under root of y square is 18718. 18718 divided by under root of y square 18718 divided by n is 4 minus y bar. Y bar is 62.5 square. Okay, so you can find the standard deviation of y is equal to under root of 18718 divided by 4. 4679.5. 4679.5 79.5 minus 62.5 square. 3906.25. 3906.25. You can find this value. 773.25, 773.25. So you can find the standard deviation, find the square root of this. 27.807, 27.807. So we can find the standard deviation. This all would have done by using that this direct formula. You could have get the answer. 9.013, 9.013. So 9.013 and standard deviation of 27.807. Already you got the same answer. Either you can do with formula, or if you want you can get direct also. So once you get the mean, you get the standard deviation. Once you get the mean, you have the these are the standard deviation. These are the standard deviation. Okay. So once you have the mean, you have the standard deviation. Once you have the mean, you have standard deviation. Okay. You can find coefficient of variation. What is coefficient of variation? That is standard deviation. That is standard deviation divided by the mean. Standard deviation divided by the mean. Standard deviation divided by the mean. So you can do this. Standard deviation divided by the mean. V8 is basically the mean. Standard deviation divided by mean into 100. If you want, you can into 100. You can do into 100. You will get the same thing in percentage. So lesser the coefficient of variation, more is the standard deviation. I want more decimal. You can get more decimal. So the coefficient of variation of A, student A, that is standard deviation of student A divided by the mean of student A into 100. Similarly, coefficient of variation student B, standard deviation of B, standard deviation by mean of B into 100. You can do this. Divide by mean. If you see this value, the coefficient of variation of A is less, so A is more consistent in its performance. So which of the two students is more consistent in performance? So student A. So since the coefficient of variation of B is more than the coefficient of variation of A. So it means A is more consistent in its performance. So guys, I hope you understood this. So the concept of coefficient of variation is very important, and every year you definitely will get a problem on coefficient of variation. So in this class, we discussed the 6 marks problem, which came in the year 2018 for you. Sorry, 5 marks problem of the topic called coefficient of variation. So I hope you understood what all we have done in this class. So please click on the like button if you have liked the class, and please subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed. Thank you everyone. Take care and see you all in next class.